Hey everybody, it's JJ Talks, and it's Thursday slash Friday on the Breakfast Club, and there's a cat meowing in the background. Sorry, it's not Tofu, but it's another cat. So, with and in light of recent tragedies and events, I kind of wanted to talk about the topic of suicide. Um, I have some controversial opinions about suicide that I have been keeping to myself for a very long time. I don't think I've ever vocalized any of these feelings, especially on the internet. So I'm a little bit nervous to do so, and I'm hoping that people can watch this video with an open mind, perhaps. Um, I would like to say that if you're someone who is currently suicidal or experiencing suicidal ideation and you feel like you could be easily triggered into hurting yourself, please do not watch this video. It's really difficult to talk about because on one hand I'm like, I want to talk about philosophically and psychologically some of the um, bigger picture stuff about suicide, but like I don't want to sound like I'm saying it's good to kill yourself, you should do it, you know what I mean? So I don't want to hurt people, but I also want to have this conversation, so it's just hard. Without further ado, I will actually start talking about what I'm going to talk about. So there's two things that I want to talk about. The first one's a little bit more tame than the second one. The first one is the fact that suicide is such a taboo subject, and besides just like not being socially appropriate to talk about necessarily in like casual settings, um, people take suicide very seriously, and it's understandable, but sometimes it's taken so seriously that people having these thoughts can't express them without someone trying to commit them to an insane asylum. You know what I mean? And a lot of people who think about suicide are not going to commit suicide, are never going to plan to commit suicide. You know what I mean? So like, I've thought about it before. I think about it actually quite frequently, and it's not like, for me, it's not like a dark, painful, like secret, you know what I mean? It's more of like, logistically, life is so exhausting. I have pretty severe depression, and I'm just like, that feeling of hopelessness. And I think about it, but I've never planned to do it. I objectively won't do it unless, barring some like traumatic, life changing event. Um, but like, there's a thousand reasons why I would never commit suicide. But I've still like thought about it before, being like, wow, it'd be really nice if life was over right now because I'm just like exhausted and tired. Um, but if I say this to anybody that I've thought about this, then they're gonna be like, oh my god, she's fucking crazy. She's gonna kill herself. We gotta put her away. But that's just, it's not the case. And with there's so much that is riding on the line for me personally with like school and work and academia and trying to go into grad school and stuff, like I can't afford any setbacks, and therefore I can't talk about these feelings because I can't risk someone trying to put me away. Or, yeah. So to be clear, I'm not gonna kill myself. I'm not planning on killing myself. But I have thought about those things, and I have friends who feel very similarly, who I've been able to talk to about this, who are like, yeah, I've thought about it, but like I can't express that to people around me because then they'll think that I am, going to do it and to feel some sort of obligation to try to help me. And I understand why people would be concerned when you talk. Like if I heard my siblings or friends talking about it, it might concern me. So it's kind of a difficult line to ride, but sometimes it can be more hurtful than helpful to overreact to someone talking about it, in my opinion. Secondly, this is a little bit more controversial, is that I wanted to propose the idea that sometimes suicide is the right decision to make. And people are probably watching this and being like, what the fuck is wrong with you, JJ? Why would you say that? And let me again be clear, like, I don't want anyone that I love to commit suicide. But if someone is so miserable in their life, like chronically depressed, chronically ill in any way, physically or psychologically, it's not gonna change. So I mean, the big argument about people like preventing people from committing suicide is that they're not in the right state of mind when they make that decision. But if they spend their entire lives not in the right state of mind, and that not right state of mind is their normal state of mind, and it's going to be that way forever, then shouldn't they be allowed to opt out? You know what I mean? You're basically telling them you have to force to live through your illness. You have to be forced to live through your depression. Like, you have to do it. Even if your life's not going to get better. Because people say it gets better, but sometimes it doesn't. People deal with depression for their entire lives. And I don't know. Like, again, personally, going through depression and stuff, like, I can't remember a time in my life where I was, like, unconditionally happy. Like, I can't think of a moment where I was happy and didn't have that in my ear all the time. So someone like me, or someone who struggles more severely than I do, constantly feeling that hopeless feeling 24/7, never able to achieve happiness forever, like, why should someone have to go through that? If people are miserable and hurting every single day for decades, why should we say you have to go through with that? You know what I mean? And I like, you understand what I mean, right? It's because I'm not saying you should commit suicide, but like, maybe for some people that is the healthier choice. And when we talk about dying with dignity, people often separate dying with dignity to suicide. And the people who oppose this are usually more conservative people, and usually people who conflate suicide and death with dignity. And I think that in some ways I agree with them. Again, in some ways I don't, because I still think it's, the person's choice. You have body autonomy. A lot of their arguments are religious. But if you are allowed to go through medical euthanasia because you have a terminal illness like cancer, why would you not be allowed to do the same if you have another chronic illness? You know what I mean? And the theory is that you can't overcome brain cancer, really. Like, you can't. But you can certainly overcome depression if you are on medication for your life. And think positive and whatever other, shit that people propose for you to do. But sometimes depression is just forever. And if someone is struggling forever, why make them live through that? Why make them live through that pain if you're not going to let someone with a physical illness also live through that pain? So I feel like people are going to be really mad that I made this video. But it's just something I was thinking about. If someone is miserable 24/7, if someone can't recall a moment in their life where they've been happy, and suffer from mental illness that is never going to go away, there's no cure for, should they be forced to keep living? Should that, And when I hear my friends talk about how miserable they are and depressed they are, like, all the time forever, and the things that they've been through, and how they feel waking up every day, and they've been feeling this way for years and years and years, is it selfish of me to say I don't want you to commit suicide? Is it because I'm saying it because I would miss them and I think that they have wonderful things to offer the world? But is that selfish of me to say that? Because when we grieve, generally always selfish, whether we like to acknowledge that or not. And, people, sorry, I'm kind of going on a tangent here now. People will also say that suicide is selfish, and I think it is. And I think almost everything that we do is selfish, either directly selfish or indirectly selfish. And I just if my friend is so miserable in their life, why should I convince them to keep pushing through this life that they're so miserable in? And maybe this is just me projecting my own experiences and emotions onto the situation rather than I don't know. It's just something to think about, because people often meet suicide with two reactions, oh my god, this is so horrible, I hope this never happens to anyone else, I'm always here if you want to talk to me. And then this person was selfish and horrible and a coward. And I think both of those are accurate and not accurate to some extent. And I would just like to hear other people's thoughts on it. But again, I understand it's a sensitive topic, and this is why I'm not making this video on my JJ Talks channel, because the Breakfast Club is an environment in which I feel more comfortable to talk about things that I'm not going to talk about on JJ Talks. And it's not because this channel is smaller, but it's because the environment that has been nurtured within this channel and conversation, it just feels a little bit more comfortable here. So again, if you are someone who, I feel like a hypocrite now if I say, if you're someone who's experiencing suicidal thoughts, please get help, we love you, please stay with us. But after I just got done saying, I don't know, it's hard to separate just philosophical conversations from, real life, and just a lot to think about. So that's what I've been thinking about lately. Sorry to put you through that, but I'd like to hear your thoughts. So if you have any, please comment down below, or make a video response and tag me in it or the Breakfast Club in it on Twitter or YouTube, and I will definitely watch it and get back to you. So it was nice to see you all. Also, our Friday host fell through, so that's why I'm posting today. So I am your Thursday and Friday host, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!